Brian May, Brian May, Brian May.
He's saving badgers.
Brian May, Brian May, Brian May.
He wants to save the badgers' lives from tuberculosis. He's got a PhD and he's an astrophysicist.
You say dumb,
I say smart.
you say butt,
I say fart.
you say die.
I say pray, man. This guy's a friggin' genius and he don't like the voice.
You say go,
I say bye.
you say dog.
Give me a cat.
You said what?
I said, huh? I don't believe in getting tan or hanging from a ceiling fan. He's the king of showbiz.
Brian May, Brian May, Brian May.
He's saving badgers.
Brian May, Brian May, Brian May.
He wants to save the badgers' lives from tuberculosis. He's got a PhD and he's an astrophysicist.
You are listening to an Omelette and Friends podcast.
Okay, it's surf time.
At WKLT.com.
KLT, the rock station, with Omelette and Friends on this beautiful morning in northern Michigan. And what makes it more beautiful is having Dr. Brian May in the studio.
Hey, Omelette.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Such a pleasure having you here. My
Thank you.
goodness, we're all excited. All the listeners, everybody here.
That's great.
Hey, y'all.
Very happy to be here. Very happy.
Oh, this is incredible. It's so much to talk to you about. We've made sure we have plenty of time to really get into all the different things. First, what brings you to town is the 3D Con.
That's right.
And what is your involvement? And talk about that a bit, if you will.
Well, I go back a long way with 3D. You know, 3D is stereoscopic. In other words, it's the same as Avatar. You know, everybody, you don't have to explain what 3D is now because everyone knows 3D movies. But it goes back a very long way to the 1850s when really 3D was invented the same time as photography was. So, you know, people like us, we take stereo photographs like John here, you know, but we also kind of treasure the past. And what I've been doing recently is writing a book about some little devils from the 1860s in France, which really nobody knows about these days. So this is going to be a first. There's 185 of them or whatever, you know, and for the first time they're all in this book. And it's 3D. It's proper 3D. I mean, this is better than Avatar because you see, I talk too much already.
No.
We already agreed that we were going to keep our mouth shut and let you talk.
Is it possible that there's going to be 3D without the aid of those glasses?
It is possible, yeah. I mean, there are some in Japan. I know there are some TVs where you don't have to wear the glasses, and supposedly you don't have to sit in the right spot. I think it's still in its infancy. I think it's still in development. But what do you say, John? You probably know more about
John,
this.
what is the purpose of the convention? And I know this is an annual event, yes?
It is an annual event. We pick different locations each year. Try to give our memberships a chance, whether it's in the upper northeast, the west. We were in California last year. Now we're in beautiful Traverse City. We're 3D enthusiasts. We celebrate everything 3D. Started out as a collector group that became a shooting group. We have stereo theater, workshops, every way to improve stereo photography and enjoy what's already been done in the past.
What we're more familiar with is the 3D movies. Do you have a favorite 3D movie? Would it be something like an Avatar or something shot real life photos?
I love Avatar. I think my favorite is How to Train Your Dragon. There's just some magic about it. I don't know what it is, but there is magic there. See, to us it is magic. We all get bitten. It's like we're sort of addicts in a way almost, you know, because once you see 3D and you have this experience of seeing two pictures which look very ordinary and sort of static and dull, you put them in the viewer and suddenly you have this landscape you could walk into. It feels completely, or you have a person you could almost touch and talk to. So once you see that and you feel that thrill, it seems to stay with people forever.
I've heard of these 3D copiers. Have you heard of a 3D copier?
Oh.
Does that fascinate you? I mean, and do you know anything about that?
It's something different. Actually, my daughter's into that, strange enough. Yeah, you're talking about being able to scan something in 3D and then recreate it like a model. That's amazing. That's something different.
It makes something tangible that you can have in your hands.
You can use, yeah.
Now, John, real quick, I know that people are visiting. They're going around northern Michigan and taking photographs in 3D?
Absolutely. Two companies have come out with digital 3D cameras, Fujifilm and Panasonic. I don't know that either one's still in production. I hope they are. But yeah, you can digitally take 3D. We have one right here.
You have a 3D camera?
Yes,
this is John's 3D camera.
This doesn't play well for radio, but you can see yourself in 3D right there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
And you went to Mackinac Island?
Nobody wants to see me in 3D.
We are going to Mackinac Island on Monday.
Going to Mackinac Island Monday. What, did you go to the Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes yet?
Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes on Wednesday. Voted the most beautiful place on earth by Good Morning America.
Right.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. You gotta do that.
And talk about the book, Brian. You're involved with the book, and
this book?
Is it?
It looks like you're putting it together right now.
You see, you can see that here, right here. Yeah, this is
He's doing the binding right now in studio.
Yeah, this is hot off the press. This is the only one that exists at this moment. But you can see it's got an enlargement of each picture, but it's got the cards reproduced exactly as they were.
Wow.
So you can experience them in 3D as people did in the 1860s. So you don't have. It's not easy to find viewers for these things. So I had to invent one.
No kidding.
And that comes with the book?
It comes with, yeah.
Nice.
This is my free gift to everyone because it's.
My
awesome.
goodness, you're folding some plastic contraption that
that has two eyes like we do.
Sure.
And you slot. Actually, it's designed to go on the book, but it works for cars as well. So you put that on here. And I'm going to show you what you see. Are you still hearing me here?
Right. The Diableries Stereoscopic Adventures in Hell, and that'll be released very shortly. Is that the plan?
Yeah, it's released. Well, we'll be presenting it at the convention for those who come, but it'll be released properly in October in time for Halloween because it's that kind of thing.
Sure. Will you be signing copies this weekend? Will they be available to the people for purchase?
Yeah, we'll be signing book plates so that when the book comes, they can stick in. That's the way we're doing it. We were hoping to have the books in time, but they just didn't quite make it.
BrianMay.com. You'll probably hear the announcements regarding specifically when and where you can get this.
Cool. You got to check this out, man. I know this isn't good radio for the people, but
right. But
you should have been here. They should have been here to see this. That is
cool
wild.
From Rick.
My goodness.
Hey.
That is intense.
Right. Now, Brian, how did you get interested? I know that you co-authored this book, and the two other authors are in town this weekend at the convention, but how did you get interested in these specific
these particular cards?
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's a long story, really, but I used to go to this place called Portobello Road in the mornings, Saturday morning in London. It's an open-air market, and you have to be there real early, like 5 in the morning, to get the bargains, And they would have stereo cards, and I was really bitten by this bug. I would just buy anything that was stereo. I don't know if you have the same experience, John, but you get this kind of passion. You have to have stereo. And then one day there was these little yellow cards with borders, and you could see little devils and skeletons, and when you held them up to the light they would become coloured and the eyes would glow red at you. So I was just fascinated. I said, where are these? Where do they come from? And nobody could tell me. So that began a quest.
Wow.
And there hasn't really been a book on the subject, so we decided we would write one. So like 30 years later we managed to write the book.
Hey, John, explain how on Sunday that people from northern Michigan can come to, I know it's $5 to visit the trade fair, but what's available on Sunday to the general public at the Grand Traverse Resort?
Everything's pretty much still available. We're going to have workshops. The best workshops will be repeated. Mm-hmm. Our stereo theater, you can come in, throw on a pair of 3D glasses, and we're going to show the best of the best. Anything that was requested to be repeated. The award-winning shows from that week. We'll have art gallery, pretty much anything 3D. If you're interested in stereo cards, stereo views, the old school, we have them. Wow. If you want to see something new, you're going to see cutting edge 3D video shorts.
And it's $5
the trade fair,
right? To get into the trade fair. And what's at the trade fair? Like, will you be at the trade fair, Brian?
I'll be everywhere. Yeah,
you'll be everywhere.
How long are you in town for?
Just 3 days, I think it is. But I'm speaking. We're presenting the Diableries on Saturday night.
Correct.
Right? So come Saturday night if you want to see. And we project them in 3D. So you can see them in 3D in the book. But if you come on Saturday night, you can see a 3D presentation on the screen. So it's not exactly Avatar, but
I wanted to thank you for your involvement in animals and being an animal rights activist. And I wanted to ask you about the recent platform, which is speaking out against the culling of the badgers in England because of bovine tuberculosis.
That's right.
We have and I know that in one of your speeches in England, you mentioned Michigan, and we have a tuberculosis issue, which they are trying to correct the problem by sometimes banning bait piles during hunting because I guess the tuberculosis is spread through saliva when the deer eat together. What do you know about? First of all, you're trying to prevent the killing of 100,000 badgers.
That's right.
And that is a very noble cause and one that we totally support you on.
Thank you.
Is that different or similar than the problem we have here? Because you believe in vaccination.
That's
and
right.
that sounds, that was marvelous when I read that.
Yeah, there are definite parallels. I mean, I would like to know more. It's white-tailed deer you have here.
Correct.
And that's been quoted a lot in England as an example of some place where people have culled a wild species and got a result in terms of bovine TB. We would dispute that. The same example is given about Ireland, where they've culled 90,000 badgers already, and really there's really no perceptible improvement in bovine TB. But people can cook the figures. You can take statistics and make them say almost anything. So our thing is really killing is not the answer, because basically it's always going to come back. You can never eradicate a disease by killing populations. The only way you can eradicate a disease, same as in humans, is by vaccination and a few other being careful, being sensible, in hygiene and not moving cattle around, for instance, to spread the disease.
And would you vaccinate the actual cows, or is it the badgers themselves?
Yeah, we're already vaccinating badgers. We're helping farmers to vaccinate badgers, the farmers who are kind of on our side with this. But the real thing, the holy grail, is to vaccinate your cows, and we're not allowed to at the moment. That's the strange thing. We have a vaccine which works. We have a DIVA test, which kind of complicated, but that allows you to distinguish between a vaccinated animal and an animal that actually has the disease. We have it already, but Europe requires us to prove it for a period of about 10 years. So what's happened is everyone's saying, this is too long to wait, we have to do something now. But the thing they're doing now is liable to make it worse rather than better.
Dr. Brian May is in the studio. We're so honored to have you, sir.
Thank you.
And,
you should get me...
I'm sorry?
You shouldn't get me started because I don't have an off switch.
No,
we like the on
plenty
switch.
Of time. And in fact, we're going to get to so many different subjects, and we'll pick your brain as much as we can in the next 20 minutes, half hour, if that's okay.
That's right. You know what? If anyone can tell me about the white-tailed deer and TB, who has a view, I'd love to hear from them. If you want to write,
I'll get Dr. Jeff on the line right now.
I would love to talk about it and learn. I'm open to learning.
we have one of the leading authorities. He's a friend of our show, and he lives here in northern Michigan.
And we're gonna take a quick break and come right back. We have some organic porridge for you with
wonderful
local dried cherries.
Oh, you gotta have cherries here.
Northern Michigan is the cherry capital of the world.
I know.
We have some beautiful.
Have you ever been to northern Michigan before?
No, this is great. Yours is becoming a wine capital, aren't you? I know.
Oh yeah, we have wine for you too. Well, not right now. I mean, for later tonight. You're probably going to be entertaining in your room. I see there's open rooms there where you can go and visit, and people have displays in their rooms.
Not the hotel rooms, the convention rooms.
Right. No, the hotel rooms.
A lot of people do that too, though. But
the hotel
room
rooms.
hopping. Yeah, the room hopping is.
We're going to open up the rooms like it's going to be a floor of like the Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, Brian
hotel.
May's in room 1163.
Hey,
joking.
There's people that have been calling that have proof that you were at least in Saginaw playing a concert years ago.
Oh yeah.
Hey, want to talk some rock and roll when we come back? Brian May is in the studio. Beautiful morning in northern Michigan, and we're so honored to have.
Get on your bikes, ride!
Brian May, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, in studio. He's in town for the 3D Con. If you want more information on that, happening at the Grand Traverse Resort, go to 3d-con.com. And Brian May's Twitter, Dr. Brian May, at Dr. Brian May on the great Twitter.
Do you do your own tweeting?
I do, yeah. I haven't been doing too much the last few days. If you get really busy, you're too busy to tweet, aren't you?
Right.
So you tweet yourself. You don't have
I don't have anybody tweeting.
Your people.
There is another tweet. My web lady does tweeting as well. I think that's called brianmay.com or something. I don't know.
Right.
But at Dr. Brian May is me. Yeah. And I don't do it habitually. I don't do it because I only do it when I feel I want to.
I found it incredible to know that you and your father built Red, your guitar.
That's right.
And You kind of you got a PhD in astrophysics.
I do. It's a strange combination, isn't it? Yeah. I'm a fragmented
But
person.
early in your career, your father was not supportive of your rock and roll because he wanted you to complete your schooling, and you made a decision, and against his wishes, you went and eventually won him over. But how did the guitar making come together, seeing that he wasn't supportive initially?
It's a good question, and it's a strange irony because, he spent 2 years making my guitar with me and being incredibly supportive about everything. It's just that he saw it as a hobby. He said, you've got to keep a proper job. Playing music is not a proper job. So he was horrified that I was going to go off and play guitar and be a pop star or whatever, so.
Which, as a dad, you could understand.
Yeah, I could understand, but it was tough, we didn't speak hardly for a year or so, which is awful, because, and my mum had a nervous breakdown because of it. It was just, it's kind of destroyed the family for a while. And then one day we played Madison Square Garden, and I flew my mum and dad over on the Concorde, and put them in a hotel and said, order room service, we're famous, which we weren't. But,
Well, when you're playing Madison Square Garden,
You're pretty darn famous.
It was coming on, but my dad afterwards shook my hand and he said, okay, I get it. And that for me was a big thing because you want the approval of your parents, don't you?
Was that when you were playing with Mott Hoople?
No, that was after that. No, that was our own show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then when he saw the success, he was actually making these charts of your album sales
he got
and stuff.
into it. Yeah, he did, which is great. Yeah. So we came back together really well towards the end of his life, and his life didn't go on too long after that, sadly. So he's one of these people who always wanted to retire and have his hobbies, and then when he did retire, somehow he lost the thread of his life, and the hobbies didn't seem so important. So it's a lesson to me. I think, keep busy, keep productive, and keep in the flow.
What is astrophysics, and could you teach us something about it?
Astrophysics is just the modern name for astronomy, really. It's knowing about the universe. But there are other branches of astronomy now. So, there's sort of astrochemistry and astrobiology. Astrophysics is the pure study of the bodies in the first of all in the solar system, and then in the local galaxy, Milky Way galaxy, and then in the universe as a whole.
Hey,
do you have a telescope, and do you get excited when certain things happen? Like in November, we're supposed to get a huge light show out there. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it seems every few weeks they have something that we're not going to see for another 600 years.
Well, the unfortunate thing is people get their expectations raised. You get people on the internet saying, oh, Mars is going to be as big as the moon, which is not true, sadly. Mars ain't ever going to look as big as the moon in our sky. But people get excited and then they get disappointed. The best thing is to have realistic expectations and go someplace where you can actually see the stars. Now, I think here you're okay, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I have a telescope on my roof in town in London, and I can only just see the main constellations. The light pollution is so awful.
We have northern lights here, which are incredible.
Well, that's wonderful.
We're that far away from the...
Beautiful.
I have an astrophysics question that came in from one of our people. It's Dr. May. We're interested in your thoughts about the discovery of the Higgs boson particle.
Higgs boson, yeah. Well, it's not my area. It's more the area of Brian Cox, who's a modern communicator in England. He's a particle physicist. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I probably don't understand it any better than you do, who's asking the question, but it's a fundamental particle, and we believe that it's one of the particles which was around in those first micro instants of creation and the Big Bang. So the study, if we can find the Higgs boson, it confirms a theory about the way matter is constructed, but more than that, you'd have to ask someone else.
Okay.
I'm sorry to jump around and right into rock and roll, but what is one of your favorite memories of your career thus far? Could it be Live Aid? Could it be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Could it be
Buckingham Palace?
The start of the Olympics? There's a lot to choose from.
It might be any of those. Probably on the top of Buckingham Palace is the thing which kind of defined a moment in my life more than anything else, because you have to face fear to do those kind of things. You're totally alone in something like that, and it's a one-off. It has to be totally live, and of course you can make the biggest idiot of yourself in history in front of 1 billion people, and there would be no way back. So it kind of brought me back to my higher power, if you know what I mean. You can prepare, but there are so many things that could go wrong. You have to just surrender and say, okay, I will pray from this point on.
Right. Dr. Brian May in the studio, the guitarist of Queen, in town for the 3D Con convention. And you can get more information by going to 3dcon.com. And Sunday, open to the public, $5 to get in. A lot of cool stuff there. You'll be speaking on Saturday night, but that's just for registered convention attendees. So.
Yeah, but it only costs how much to be registered?
$35.
Hey,
$35?
Correct.
Drop in the bucket.
And John, real quick before we talk to Brian more about music, there's an association, the National Stereoscopic Association, and is there like an annual membership fee for that?
Yes, there is, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It's
putting you on the spot.
$22, $25, I believe.
Wow, real reasonable.
You get 6 issues of Stereo World, and I think Dr. May has contributed to Stereo World in the past, so it's a good read if you're interested in stereo photography.
And is the London Stereoscopic Company that we see on your website, londonstereo.com, is that something that you're obviously really involved with?
Yeah, it's my company. It's kind of cheeky of me because in the 1850s in England there was a company called the London Stereoscopic Company, and their motto was a stereoscope in every home. So, but it became defunct about 1920, I think. So I was hoping to buy the company, but it wasn't available to buy. So I kind of recreated it. So I am now the London Stereoscopic Company, me and a couple of my pals.
Nice.
And we issue, the book is an issue from the London Stereoscopic Company, and we issue cards. We make cards, we make the viewers. So we're sort of working on evangelizing 3D in Britain, the same as John is evangelizing in this country.
Awesome.
Hey, Brian May, we are so honored to have you. Thank you so much. I have a couple of questions. You always have a way of staying current. There is, your involvement. You gave Lady Gaga a call not too long ago, and she was out of her mind, happy with you in giving her a call, and she was freaking out and whatnot at the time.
We worked together. That was great.
She's at the top of the world at the time in pop culture, and what was that like, and how did it initiate? I mean, we're not a Lady Gaga station by any means, but also with Adam Lambert that you worked with, and he joined Queen for a while. Actually, erase the Lady Gaga question. What about? Is there any future plans musically?
We keep in touch with Adam for sure, and there's always the possibility we could do more. That worked out really well. We just did a few dates with Adam, but boy, that guy is an amazing musician, an amazing instrument that he has. It's unique, and I'm sure if Freddie was around, he'd be like, whoa, that is a serious singer. And he's a nice guy, he doesn't have any kind of starriness about him. It's very important. People you work with, you have to like. You have to get on with them, and he was really easy to work with. Yeah, he's a really good man,
And the time with Paul Rogers,
that also was amazing, because Paul was a hero of us. There's, in a sense, Adam is from the generation following, but Paul is almost from the generation before, because he was a star when we were kids. He was a star very young, but he was in Free and Bad Company and everything. So to work with that guy was incredible, and also he's a very spiritual man too. So we got a lot out of that and great interaction.
A lot of the British wave, the British invasion was sort of influenced by old American blues rock.
You're so right.
You guys sort of transformed it into the British wave.
Yeah.
And then and I feel like you're a part of that because you're influenced by those guys. Those are your peers.
Totally. Yeah, we were talking about just yesterday. Actually, we were saying it's like waves go back and forth across the Atlantic because we were completely influenced by like Buddy Holly, Elvis Presley, Little Richard, whatever, and the blues guys. And to us, they were the magic. There was a magic there that we couldn't find in Britain. So that a generation of us grew up sort of wedded to that, disciples of that. And that's where the Beatles came from. That's where Zeppelin came from. That's where we came from.
Stones,
and this wave kind of went the Stones. We went back across into the States, and it's almost like the same happened in reverse, because I think the kids in the States saw some magic in us that they couldn't find, so they kind of got galvanized, and you get this whole 80s scene of the rock, Journey and Foreigner, or and whatever followed, so there's this, it's a kind of a beautiful wave which goes backwards and forwards, and there is magic in there.
Are you still playing your guitar on a regular basis?
Oh yeah, I have a guitar here. I don't have the Red Special here, which is unusual, but I'm traveling on my own completely.
And you said your last stop was North Dakota. You have a home in L.A., and so L.A. and London, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And how often do you get back and forth? How does that go?
Yeah, not as often as I would like. You know, I do have the little house in Los Angeles, which is on the flat part, but my kids love it. A lot of my time with my kids was spent there, and we just, we used to do the California things, which again is kind of magical for English kids.
Hey, I know you have coffee. We have some porridge here and a smoothie. Would you
And cherries.
Would you like to laugh a bit and listen to something while you
Okay.
take a sip?
Okay.
Our guy who makes funny songs in the other room he did a parody song on a Queen talking about your animal rights activism.
Ooh, okay.
So have a laugh here.
Brian May, Brian May, Brian May.
He's saving badgers.
Brian May, Brian May, Brian May.
He wants to save the badgers' lives from tuberculosis. He's got a PhD and he's an astrophysicist. You say dumb, I say smart. You say butt, I say fart. You say die, I say pray, man. This guy's a friggin' genius and he don't like the voice. You say go, I say bye. You say dog, give me a cat.
You said what?
I said, huh? I don't believe in getting tan or hanging from a ceiling fan. He's the king of showbiz.
Brian May, Brian May, Brian May.
He's saving badgers.
Brian May, Brian
All right.
May, Brian May.
He wants to save the badgers'
All right, stop
lives
it.
from tuberculosis.
Stop. All right, thank you.
I love it. I want a copy of that.
He gets paid for this. Hey,
Thanks.
Brian May is in the studio. We're gonna take a quick break and be right back, and then we'll let you
Get back to your
Oh, okay, well, I'm highly honored. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back on KLT with Brian May. All right, KLT, the rock station. It's 9:57, and we're in the studio with Dr. Brian May, and this is just like a dream come true. You know, Brian, I just want to quickly say that as a kid, you know, I was drawn to the radio, and you know, I was like, that was my companion. You know, late at night, I listen with my pillow, and I'm learning about rock and roll. And I love the medium of radio.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a relationship that you develop with the people, and you created the music that was a pillar of this format, and it's just such a great full circle. It makes me so happy to be able to meet you and talk with you. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, it's we grew up together in that way, you know, because that's when we were touring as Queen. You know, that's the way radio was. We would come in every time we visited a new town. We go to the local radio station and we'd do what we're doing here. We sort of interact spontaneously, and that is rare now. It doesn't happen, you know, so seldom happens that way.
Sometimes if we feel, we'll put on a Johnny Cash song or something like, you know, it's beyond the format, or just, you know, whatever we feel like talking about, or if we go long or if we go short. You know, Terry just came in, our program director. She's like, go as long as you want, you know. So it's a freedom which we appreciate.
Fantastic.
And thank
God
you
bless you
so much. Brian May is part of the 3D Con, something he's very fascinated and interested in. I mean, there's not too much that you're not interested in, which is great. And I'm the same way. We're going to take a phone call from one of my favorite guitarists. Steve Marchena is on the line. Good morning, Steve. From Boston.
Wow. Amazing.
I grew up with him. Hey, good morning. Say hello to Brian May.
Morning, Brian.
Hey, Steve. Good morning. Great to hear from you
Today?
I'm good. The sun is shining, and it's a beautiful place that I never would have got to if it weren't for a gentleman who's sitting next to me.
Thanks, John.
Very well.
It's beautiful. Traverse City is so beautiful.
Oh, it's fantastic. It really is, yeah.
So, Brian, I just had a couple questions for you real quick. One is, do you remember in the 1970s the Viewmaster?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, you made me think about that with the 3D viewers. I think they were trying to make that pretty popular for the people and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But they...
Yeah, I mean, Viewmaster is very good 3D, and I think they kind of carried the torch for 3D for a very long time.
I had one when I was a kid. I loved those.
Yeah,
Did you have one, old man?
Of course. Yeah.
You call him old man?
It's like a
Old man.
Oh, I thought you called him
Short
old
for
man.
omelet. You probably were wondering, like, what's this omelet guy I'm coming in to see?
I'm starting to get gray, so old man fits too. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Omelet.
Do you have any other questions or comments for Brian?
One more, Brian. I just got to tell you, right, that you have such an incredible guitar tone. I know that you've heard that a million times. And it's
thank you.
It's just real incredible. But my question for you is, so the tube amplifiers that they're making today, I don't know what your opinion is. It seems like the classic gear maybe was a little more simple and it was a better sound. And I know that you have stuff with Vox and everything, but I'm just curious from your perspective, why is it that the stuff that they make now is so different than the classic gear?
Ooh, that's a big question. I know. I mean, the stuff we make or the stuff other people make?
The tube.
You can't. Well, the funny thing is this. Yeah, it's technology. Which it's like analog images, if you like. Analog sound is something amazing because we are analog creatures, and now everything's become digital. But digital is an approximation to an analog signal. So those old tube amplifiers, which we call valve amplifiers, are something completely different. They're sort of organic things. They almost link into your body, and there's lots of digital technology which can emulate that, but it never quite gets there, in my opinion. That if you plug into an old amp, an old Vox amp or whatever, and you have the right situation with it, you drive it hard, that thing is going to sing. It just sings. It's like a voice, and there's nothing like that in digital.
That's right. Wow. And then just one more technical thing, Brian. Sometimes they'll try to get less digital stuff, but they'll do more gain stages in the amplifiers, and it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't sound as classic as the simple amplifiers that they were making in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, it's an approximation, like I say. I mean, for me, the simpler the better. I like to have very little between me and the amp, just a wire and a booster if you need a booster.
You got it on Guitar Talk here with Dr. Brian May here on WKLT.
And is Steve and maybe Brian is that old? The old amps, are they still very much available? Have people been preserving them? The old tubes and the old amps, like an old.
Yeah, there's people that keep that technology going. Yeah, you can get.
I think in the 1980s, we're trying to change the sound, and they ruined. I'm just naming one particular amplifier. These Marshall Flexis. Like, I'm looking at those, and it looks like in the 80s, a lot of people modified them and kind of ruined them. So there's not as many as should be.
This will happen.
Hey, Steve, thank you so much for the call, buddy. Great to hear from you.
Thanks,
Along
Steve.
the lines of guitar, when you were growing up, Brian, who was really influencing you?
Oh, well, Jimi Hendrix, it comes to mind very quickly. Jimi Hendrix is a god to all of us. I will still, none of us will ever know quite how he did that. And I was fortunate enough to see him live quite a few times. And it was just, I'm using the word magic a lot here, but it was just beyond awesome. He created like an orchestra out of just an ordinary guitar and an ordinary amp. I've never seen anything like it before or since.
On your way out, we'll play some Hendrix. Name two songs that you love.
Well, Axis Boulder's Love and Little Wing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, neither of those are the big blockbuster things, but the delicacy in his playing, the beauty, it's just...
Did you hear what Stevie Ray Vaughan did with Little Wing? He played it as well.
Oh, yeah. I love Stevie's playing. He's amazing.
And another question that you may have been asked a lot. Who are some of your more memorable collaborations, the people that you've played guitar with, what are some of your favorites? You probably played with Eric Clapton.
I've been so lucky. That's the great perk of being a sort of rock star in inverted commas. You get to play with your heroes, and it's incredible. I've played with Eric quite a bit, and I remember we played at the Prince's Trust, which is the Prince Charles's charity, a number of years ago at the Albert Hall, and we were playing with Joe Cocker and doing a little help from my friends, and I'm standing next to Eric Clapton thinking, what the hell do I do here? And he turns.
Now you know how I feel.
Well, no, he turns to me and he says, "Do you want to do the?" And I went, "Yeah, Eric, I'd love to do that." But you see, that's very generous of him because he's the archetypal lead guitarist, and he says, "No, Brian, you take that beat, and I'll just do the rhythm." So that was an amazing moment for me. It's on tape someplace, but and playing with Cocker as well. The guy's just so inspiring. The same as Paul Rodgers is. But it's so many things. Like I played with My Chemical Romance when they came to Britain, and that's awesome to me as well. Those guys are just full of the right spirit, and too many things.
Is there something musically you'd still like to accomplish? I mean, you probably, as a creative person, you probably still, think that there's more to do.
I'm reaching.
Every day.
Yeah, I'm reaching for things, I suppose. I'm working with a wonderful lady singer in Britain called Kerry Ellis, and we're about to go out on tour. And we did a big tour with a lot of, big band and an orchestra in the Albert Hall and everything. But we discovered that we like small as well. We like intimate. So we're just doing me and her, just a voice and a guitar and occasional keyboards. So that's something very different from me.
Was she the voice on that when you did the Born Free?
That's right.
That's her, yes.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
we played that earlier.
Oh, you did? Cool. Yeah. So we have a new single out, for that, and we're working on an album. But to me, I'm reaching for purity and the place that no one's ever been before.
So often today, music gets somewhat of a bad rap, but actually there's a lot of great music being made today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A couple more questions on moving around in topics. I have ADD, so you got to bear with me.
That's why you're so good at this,
Speaking of the universe, do you believe that there's life out there, intelligent life out in
big question is there intelligent life on Earth, right? But apart from that, I have an unusual viewpoint, because looking at the maths, looking at the statistics, it's very easy to make it look as if it's impossible that there wouldn't be life out there. There's this thing called the Drake equation, but I don't buy it, because I don't think we know enough about the components of that equation. And the big component we don't know about is the step from like an organic molecule to something which can reproduce. Nobody knows that territory. It's uncharted. So we don't know if that happened once only on Earth or not. And so I have a kind of unpopular view. I think we may be the only planet on which there is life.
It's so fascinating when I'm sure this is why you're drawn to it. It's just so vast and so you don't know how far it goes, and infinite. You don't understand. No. And then to think us, our little old speck in this universe, and then there's many universes beyond, and then to think that we're people that have, where the body is unbelievable biology and the creation and intelligence and languages and creating things then that little speck.
It's a paradox. Yeah, we are so small and yet so big. So incredibly complex. And to me, we've missed something, and that something is that we've failed to understand that all the creatures on this planet are at the peak of their evolution, not just us. And because we as a species are covering the planet with concrete and destroying everyone else's habitat, we are missing the fact that all life is precious on this earth.
What do you think we need to do that's very important to change, or to stop doing something, or to do more of something? I
think we have to stop regarding ourselves as the only important creature on the planet. I think it's vital, and astronomy teaches us, because we used to think that the Earth was at the center of the universe. That was believed for 1,000 years after Ptolemy said so. And gradually we discovered we're not at the center even of our own solar system. The solar system is not at the center of the Milky Way. It's in a backwater of the Milky Way. The Milky Way is not at the center of the rest of the galaxies in the universe. So the lesson is clear. We are not as important as we think we are.
You co-authored earlier this year Bang, The Complete History of the Universe, and does this get you into some verbal conflicts with religious people? Is it the same? Because you do believe in God, I read. A God, some sort of...
Yeah,
something.
That's right. Yeah, to me, I don't get into it in a sense, because my feeling is that science and religion should be separate. There's a point where they interact in the middle somewhere, but basically science does not have a lot to say about religion, and anyone who tells you it does, I think, is missing the point. And I don't think religion has a lot to say about science. They're two separate territories which have a shoreline where they meet. But, I don't like to hear scientists saying, we can prove there isn't a God. They can't. Science is about evidence. There is no evidence that there is no God. So shut up. And you get it the other way. You get people who are, have religious theories or whatever and think they can kind of tell scientists, but that's not going to work either. So to me, it's about respect. You have to understand there's an area where you talk about spiritual things, and there's an area where you talk about physical things, and to me, the two can help each other, but they can't infiltrate into each other's territory.
Well, Brian, you're a man of peace. You're a man of
I
love.
try.
You're a guy that's a great ambassador for rock and roll, and
Thank you.
just you make us think and you inspire us, and that's probably, that's a big thank you on behalf of everyone listening.
I'm
and
very
beyond.
honored, Mr. Omelette. Thank you very much.
Mr.
And
Omelette,
Rick,
you
and
just-
Mr. Rick,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Omelette, and Mr.
Hey,
Rick.
Dr. Brian May, let's get you back to your regularly scheduled
We'll do
things.
3D, John, yeah? We'll go
Yep.
do 3D.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
3D Con. Check out the website. It's at the Grand Traverse Resort right down the road here. Brian May is in town for the weekend. I hope you have a lovely time here. I really do.
We sure will. Thank
and
you.
John, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
3d-con.com if you want to read about it before you go. And again, Sunday's open to the public, $5. See all the exhibits. And get your 3D on.
There you go. Have fun.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Brian May, thank you so much for your time. Everybody have a great weekend, all right? We'll see you on Monday.
You have been listening to an Omelette and Friends podcast.
It's really starting.